What do you call a man with no arms and no legs and a pile of leaves? Russell.
How old were you when you found out that when Luke says, Uncle Owen, this R2 unit has a bad motivator? Look! Luke is actually talking about an R5 unit.
Did you guys hear that Elon Musk is planning to throw a party in space? He just needs someone who's gonna plan it.
Welcome to the Council of Nerds.
That one was so dumb. That's the dumbest one yet.
The Council of Nerds.
Welcome to the Council of Nerds, ladies and gentlemen. We will be discussing, as it is the first week of the month of November, that this will be going out to you, lovely. What is it? Cats and kittens. Is that what Carol Baskin said?
Yeah.
I saw this thing. It was like, when were you done with 2020? And it was Carol Baskin on Dancing with the Stars. It was just like, that was the moment I was done.
Speaking of like names about people you're talking to, I feel like we should have like a name for like the people who listen to our podcast. You know how like people who watch Star Trek or fans of Star Trek, they're Trekkies, and then you got like Starroids.
Well,
that's offensive.
Lucas.
That's not what we call them,
right?
But
it's derogatory. I get it, but I'm just saying.
What we call Star Trek fans is even more derogatory than Trekkie. But we're not going to get into that because it's not necessarily super appropriate. I don't know. We should think about that.
We should think about that. If there's any suggestions from people out there, let us know. But we will also be thinking about it.
But we are the Council of Nerds. You can check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube. Just look up the Council of Nerds, and we're there. Just pretty much anywhere you want to look. We have a Discord, the Council of Nerds Discord. Join us there.
Yes.
Share with us any information that you have, if you have an expertise, or memes. We like some memes. We do appreciate a good meme from time to time. If you have a topic suggestion, we always are looking for that, or any ways that we could improve the podcast. So support us, do what you can, give us a thumbs up on YouTube, whatever the heck you're supposed to do, all that stuff. Subscribe, hit the bell notification so you don't miss a single video. But today we're going to be doing some more nerdy news, as it is the first of the month. And then if we run out of some news, we might have a very interesting topic to talk about, which I'm excited about. November is a large month, but we kind of covered a lot of what was going to be happening in November, in October, at the beginning of the month. But something that we did not cover, and I'll start with this. Sony announced a laundry list of games that will be available to play for free day one to PS5 owners. Wow. Oh, and just as a side note, if you hear a baby screaming, my baby doesn't want to go to sleep. So you'll have to maybe deal with that. Get over it. People have children. So the list, very strong list. Ready? Arkham Knight.
Ooh.
Probably my least favorite of all the Batman of those Arkham games, but Battlefield 1, Bloodborne.
I love that game.
Bloodborne and Days Gone are PlayStation exclusive games. Pretty good. Detroit Become Human, which was an interesting one. Fallout 4, Final Fantasy 15, God of War. That would get me to buy that. If you hadn't played God of War,
the new one,
and you're like, yeah, the brand spanking new one, and you hadn't played that yet, and you're like, I think I might get a PS5, that would tip me in that category. Infamous Second Son, which was actually the first PlayStation 4 exclusive. Monster Hunter World, Mortal Kombat 10, Persona 5, Ratchet & Clank, Resident Evil 7, The Last Guardian, Last of Us Remastered, Uncharted 4, and Until Dawn. The two big ones that people have noted are missing are Horizon Zero Dawn and the new Spider-Man game. Both of those were PlayStation exclusives. And that also leads to the rumor mill that tomorrow Sony will be... We're recording this a little bit earlier than you're going to hear it, but tomorrow Sony will be announcing the games that will be free for the month of November for PlayStation Plus. People are thinking it's going to be Horizon Zero Dawn, Watch Dogs 2, or Spider-Man. Either of those I'd be very happy with. But yeah, it's kind of it's quite a list.
That's a big list.
And I know it's really, as our resident Xbox Microsoft user over there, Logan, I know it's kind of nothing compared to the Game Pass that
nothing.
That Xbox has set up there.
But I do want to say that I've never had a PlayStation or anything, but that list of games, I have heard of almost all of them. I haven't played almost all of them. Actually, probably all of them. But I've heard amazing things about all of them. So like that list alone is still pretty amazing for, like you said, it is pretty much nothing compared to the Game Pass for Xbox, but that's still pretty awesome, especially the God of War one. That one for me that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it seems like they went through and because Days Gone is actually newer than God of War. That's besides besides Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us 2. That was the Days Gone was the exclusive just before those two. But yeah, God of War is a huge one on there. It seems like they went through and almost did like, you get the Super Nintendo classics and it's got like the classic games. It's like these were kind of the classic games for the PlayStation 4 with Ratchet and Clank and Infamous Second Son and a few other ones on there. It's kind of an interesting list. I could do without a few of them. Until Dawn doesn't really wet my whistle. Persona 5 I've heard is good, but super long. So I don't know. And The Last Guardian I've actually heard mixed reviews on. Everyone waited a super long time for that game and then weren't super impressed by the end of it. But that being said,
yeah, move on. Sorry. I mean, like, I'm not saying that's boring, but there's some other cool things coming out.
Move on. Why are you still
cares.
talking?
No, I'm just kidding.
Who cares about PlayStation?
Go ahead if you have some stuff.
I just have a few things. For Xbox users, we checked it for some reason. I guess it's not for PlayStation, which I find weird. But for Xbox users out there, there's a big sale on Star Wars games right now. And so I think it's like up to 50% off. I personally got the original Star Wars Battlefront 2 for a total of $5, which is a really good deal. And I saw that Jedi Fallen Order is on sale as well. Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2. The Force Unleashed games I think are both $5. Like there's a ton of them, super awesome. And then also speaking of Star Wars games, it's been released on PlayStation and Nintendo Switch since I think June of this year. But I don't know if it was today or this week at least. They finally released the Nintendo 64 Pod Racer Episode 1 Pod Racer game for Xbox, which is super cool. It's only $15. I love it. I wish it was online multiplayer, but it's not, which is lame, but that's fine. But yeah, also this is just going along with Star Wars and not video games, but we will be doing a Mandalorian Season 2 episode. I think next, we won't do a full episode, but we will do at least part of our episode. They'll be late like every week for that, but it'll still be fun. We will do every episode. I think as they come out, we talk about them. Probably not full episodes, but that comes out for people listening, it came out on Friday for Mandalorian Season 2, but I'm excited.
Wow, that was a great episode, guys. Holy cow.
Oh, man, can you believe what happened?
Can I take a second to ask Dan what's going on with the smell saga?
I think I know.
Did your roommate come in and float a biscuit and then leave?
Or he just smells like he worked out or something?
He's cooking something. And it's not a smell I'm used to, I'm a dude from the South. I'm not used to, Eastern style cooking. It smells very strongly. But yeah, how about that Mandalorian episode? And if it's bad, edit that part out. Man, that Mandalorian episode sucks. Dude. Holy cow.
I'm very excited for Friday. I am going to this Halloween party, but you best believe that I will be watching that episode. I don't know how many times that day.
It doesn't come out Friday night. I'm going to watch it. It probably comes out Thursday night. I'm probably going to watch it Thursday night. It did last.
You loopholed it. Look at you.
Well, I mean, last for season 1, I remember the first episode. I it was probably planned, but I remember like I was on a Discord with a bunch of Star Wars nerds, and like at like 11:30 my time, people were like, it dropped early, and so we all logged on and got Disney Plus and started watching Mandalorian.
Wow.
Thursday night. But yeah, that's it for me with nerdy news. I don't really have any other nerdy news.
Dan, you got any nerdy news for us?
Much at all. Rick and Morty, the next season comes out next week sometime. I think on the 1st of November, I want to say.
How many seasons?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have watched that. I think I want to say the 4th season.
Yeah, I think it's
rewatching them all. It's pretty good.
Pickle
I
Rick.
obviously don't get it. Yeah, I don't understand quantum mechanics and everything, so I don't get all the jokes.
I don't think Rick does either, if it makes you feel better.
I just like his voice. It's funny.
But there's that. Xbox, they're pretty self-aware. They made an Xbox Series X refrigerator, so that's pretty cool.
No way.
I saw that.
They're pretty self-aware. Something cool.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Thanks, Dan. Something cool for PS5. The faceplates on the PS5 are actually removable. Kind of harkening back to those front plates on the Xbox 360s, where you could take those off and replace them with a artsy fartsy one. But a company is now manufacturing different colored faceplates for that, so that you can get like a Mac Black. What? Matte Black. There's also a chromatic, a red, a camo. There's quite a few other options there, so that's kind of cool. This is a small thing, but I thought was really interesting. Anybody who plays Mortal Kombat 11, they just dropped a new character, and that would be Rambo. Is now in Mortal Kombat 11, and it is voiced by none other than Stallone himself. Sylvester. So that's pretty cool. I just want to hear I haven't been able to watch anything or hear what it sounds like, but I really want to hear like his one-liners in Mortal Kombat. And then I think the top 3 games that are releasing this month, number 3 for me personally is Cyberpunk 2077. I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. CD Projekt Red is great. Agreed. I feel like it's been overhyped. I'm just kind of sick of hearing about it. So I'm just kind of agreedo. Done there. Number 2, and I'm not a Call of Duty player, but Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War is coming out this month. And the thing that I am excited about is going back and harkening back to some old school zombies. They're going to have some interesting zombie modes in that one. Dan and I used to go hard in the paint on some zombies back in the day. Never got anywhere, but we tried. We really did try. And then number 1 for me, November 10th, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So I'm very excited about that one. I'm going to be picking that up probably day 1, if not just a few days after. Yeah.
Can I say something about COD?
Yeah.
So I was a huge fan of the classic Modern Warfares, 2 and 3, and then I love the old Black Ops games, mainly just 1 and 2. And I got the new Modern Warfare, and it was fun, but it was also ridiculously huge in the storage whatever you want to call that, storage game. And my friend actually sent this to me and my other friend recently. They made like a list of like the top, like the largest games with the biggest install sizes.
The storage
sizes. And Modern Warfare, the new one, came out on top, number 1, largest storage size.
Grief.
And second place isn't even a contest, dude. First place, Call of Duty Modern Warfare at 231 gigabytes. Yes. Hence the reason why I uninstalled that game from my Xbox. I just couldn't take it anymore. Second place. Any guesses on second place here?
Red Dead Redemption 2.
It is another Call of Duty, isn't it?
No. Both wrong. But do you have any guesses on the gigabyte size? How about that?
I'd say 142.
I'd say 130.
149.
I was so freaking close.
Really close.
That was close.
And the game will surprise you. Hitman 2.
Really? I mean, there's quite a bit to that. There's a lot of little bobs and pieces to that game.
And then third place is a game that's close to your guys' heart. And Dan was close with a gigabyte size for this one. 131 gigabytes, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. With 8
that takes up most of my PlayStation.
I have an issue with Call of Duties, and with this new Call of Duty, I'm done. I just, after this new Modern Warfare came out, I'm just like, I'm done. It's not worth my money and time at this point. So, sorry, Call of Duty, but you lost me, which is not really anything to you. So that's fine.
Which is going to damage you so much.
I'm going to post
there goes on $60, boys.
I'm going to make an anti-Twitter against you.
But, yeah, I don't know. I haven't gotten a Call of Duty game since Black Ops. I think that was probably the last one I bought.
There's really no point after Black Ops. So.
It was World War II.
Well, the last little bit of news I have before we go on to our super secret topic. Microsoft the head of Microsoft, I can't remember his name at the top of my head, was interviewed again about the purchase of ZeniMax, which is the purchase of Bethesda and all those subsequent studios. And he said that Microsoft does not consider them that they do not think that they need the sales to PlayStation players to make the deal that they made a viable one, aka they don't care if they sell them to PlayStation or not. He also did say, though, their objective is not to take away gaming opportunities from people just because they play a different console. So it was kind of a back and forth thing, but he did say Microsoft doesn't need you.
Dude, he was basically just like, that was just like a total show off game right there. What he basically did was like, hey, let's compare wallets. Oh, do you want me to pay for lunch? And and then he pays for lunch. To be fair,
smugly,
right? I think the whole feud between consoles is dumb. I like both consoles. I just don't have the money for both consoles. That's the only reason I don't have them both. But let's all be real. Microsoft is a giant compared to Sony, in money wise. They just, it's crazy. But yeah, that's interesting. I don't see Microsoft not selling games. I mean, they're greedy. They're just well, why not? It's like the Tostitos girls, why not both? ¿Por qué no los dos?
¿Por qué no los dos?
Yeah. So, but yeah, is that it? Are we done with nerdy news?
Yeah, I think. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of Nerdy News. We will be now moving on to something that Dan and I know absolutely nothing about, and we'll see how this conversation goes. I'm very excited.
Yes.
Logan, take it away.
So we wanted to try something a little different. I wanted to try just kind of throwing a subject at you guys without you guys knowing what it is. So there's no preparation to this. It's random. It is on the nerdy spectrum, of course. And the only hint I gave them was that it was conspiratorial, right? Which is always fun, super fun. And it's something I love reading about and seeing videos about and such, which is I think a common favorite, and that is aliens and UFOs. I love aliens and UFOs. It is my favorite stuff in the world. Okay, that's not true, but I love it a lot. I have read a ton of stuff on aliens and UFO sightings and all that stuff. And then the typical, some of my favorite is evidence of aliens. This one's totally just fun for me, but aliens helping ancient civilizations here on Earth build or do certain things or whatever. Typical ones like the ancient Egyptians and such. And so I love aliens. There's to start off though, I just want to say, what do you guys think about aliens and UFOs? Like, do you guys believe in them? Do you think it's just fun? Do you think people who do believe in them are whack jobs? Go ahead, somebody start off and go for it. I'll give my 2 cents after.
Okay. I just want to start with saying that this year, the Pentagon, the Pentagon declassified what they called a footage of UFOs. Like, that happened this year.
Yeah.
And no one cared.
No.
No one even took a second. No one batted an eye. There was so much crap going on that no one cared. Also, to answer your question about whether or not I think they're real, if you honestly think the universe is as big as it is and there's no other life out there, I mean, you might be a little delusional. That's just my opinion.
To quote Nacho Libre, you're crazy.
You're crazy. There's got to be more than just our little marble out there with life on it. In terms of life that has been able to expedite their technological advances to the point where they visited us thousands of years ago, who's to say? But
what about you, Dan?
Well, considering that I was listening to a podcast earlier today that was talking about alien encounters, I would say yes. They actually brought up that Pentagon report, and they're like, "Why is no one talking about this?" Like the Pentagon said, they have evidence of stuff that's not from the Earth. But yeah, I've seen a UFO. I don't know if it was like a spaceship, but I saw something I couldn't explain in the sky.
Dan's a believer.
But I'm a believer. I'm a believer. That podcast, there's one part they talked about this Navy pilot.
What's the podcast called?
Flying around. It was actually the Joe Rogan podcast. It was
nice.
Totally random.
Hey, Joe Rogan. Hey,
he was he was talking with a psychiatrist about a psychologist, one of them, I think psychologist, about I think shrooms, narcissism, and aliens. And Bigfoot.
Typical Joe Rogan conversation.
Pretty much. But on it, they brought up like this Navy pilot. I guess one of Joe Rogan's friends. You know, he's got a guy who does everything. You have?
Yeah.
And he said that he saw this pod or something flying around like 40 feet across. And he said it dove from like 6,000 feet down to a foot almost instantaneously, flew back up. He told the people at the naval base, and they're like, yeah, happens pretty often, but there's nothing we can do about it. Like, we can't catch it. We can't do anything. It's invisible to our heat scans, our radar and stuff. And I was just like, that's absolutely crazy that like, they're like, yeah. Stuff happens like UFOs. Maybe it's not aliens. Maybe it's China. But it happens.
That was a pretty good
China.
So my 2 cents on aliens. I already said I love aliens. I believe in aliens. Okay, I'm a believer. I believe I saw a UFO. And I was believe it or okay, don't believe it or not, whatever. I wasn't drunk. I wasn't high. I don't do that stuff. I was totally in mind. I wasn't even tired. You know, like
Logan only does those things on days that end with Y. Okay,
yeah.
So
step off. But no, it was me and my 2 friends. We saw it, and it was. I'll tell that story in a second. But I'm like you guys, I presume. I'm come from a religious background, so for me, when people talk aliens, a lot of people talk, you know, the big green, the aliens from like the movie Signs or any movie, right? I don't see them as creepy, scary looking creatures. For me, they're just like us. Like I said, I come from a religious background. So for me, it's like, I mean, if you come from the Christian background, you know, it's like God created multiple worlds. And so that's how I see it. I see that he created a world before ours at one point, somewhere off in the universe, multiple. And their technologies came faster than ours because they were first. They were there first or whatever. That's where I come from with aliens, right? I just want to make that clear because I'm not into the whole, I don't know, tentacles, Star Wars looking aliens. I think
You're not into that.
I think they're fun. I think it's fun. I mean,
you're not looking for some Twi'lek on the side, like that's not.
I mean, 1.2. Anyway, so I'll tell my UFO story though. So I think I was either a junior or a senior in high school. And it was like fall. It was like a fall time. For people who don't know, I'm from the state of Oregon in the United States, and I don't live near, at least what I know. I think the nearest military base is a couple hours away. I grew up in a small little, not small, but not a huge little neighborhood, right? And we were out at night. I don't remember why, but we figured out that if you get cotton balls wet and you throw them at stuff, they stick. So we were out getting cotton balls wet and throwing them at like cars and
Genius
and windows. Super fun. Makes a really cool sound. It's really satisfying. But we were just out, and then my friend is like, "What the heck is that?" And he's like looking up, and me and my other friend are like, "What?" And we look, and there's these 3 red lights like in a triangle, right? And when they moved, it wasn't like each one moved on its own sort of path. It was almost like they were all on one 3-dimensional triangle, a pyramid, I guess. But it was just kind of like the way they moved. We couldn't see anything but the 3 lights. And the way it moved is really interesting. The lights would get like further apart, like it was getting closer to us, and then they would get closer together, like it was getting further away. And then at one point, it just kept getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and it was gone. And it was the weirdest thing. At that time, drones weren't like a thing that ordinary people had, right? Like they weren't commercialized and sold at Walmart or whatever for filming stuff.
Right.
And there was no noise. There was no buzz of like a propeller or anything like that. And it just hovered. Like it wasn't ordinary. It was very, very interesting. I went home. I looked up online to see if anyone else had seen something like that, and there was tons of stuff like that. Like the same thing. I saw videos from like Texas. I saw videos from Chile. I saw videos from all over the place, all over the world of basically that kind of thing. And it was really interesting. And so for me, aliens are very cool. Now, I highly suggest a documentary on Netflix. I'm not usually into the alien documentaries because they're always full of like whack jobs. No offense to the people in those documentaries.
That guy with the hair.
Yeah, like the History Channel dude.
Ancient Aliens.
Yeah.
But
I fall asleep watching that.
I watched this documentary on Netflix with my father-in-law, and it was so interesting. Even if you don't believe in aliens, it's just very interesting. The documentary is called, Bob Lazar, Area 51, and something else. I just remember Bob Lazar. But it is such a good documentary. He was on Joe Rogan's podcast also, by the way. The thing that I find super interesting about him, here's the title. Bob Lazar, Area 51, and Flying Saucers. This guy in like 1980 came out to like media, to the press or whatever, saying that he worked for Area 51 for the government, working on what he describes as flying saucers, like UFOs. The thing that I found super interesting about this documentary, though, is how believable it was. Like I said before, most of them are just full of like whack jobs, right? They're just kind of weird people, not very trustworthy, don't have any evidence, tend to mix up their story. This guy's super smart. Bob Lazar is a very intelligent dude. I've seen interviews from like the 80s and 90s from him. I've seen interviews when he was on Joe Rogan's podcast. I watched the documentary he was on. All his stories line up. He never mixes up his story. He's not crazy. He seems like some ordinary, nerdy, 50-year-old Bill Gates style looking dude. He's not rich in any way. I think right now he lives in like the Midwest or something, and he owns like at least from the documentary, at least when that was made, he owns like a company that makes fireworks. So he deals with like the scientifical portion of mixing the powders and elements or whatever to make fireworks.
Right.
He does not make money, right? He said, actually, he's like, if anything, he's lost money ever since he came out with this. If anything, it has hurt his quote unquote resume, I guess, in his life. It's not good, but it is a great documentary. He is very believable. He talks about what he did at Area 51. It was more of like a sector of Area 51, and it is very interesting. I highly recommend it. Highly.
I'm going to be watching that probably this evening. So thank you.
It is weirdly interesting and just fun. Like the way he describes I won't spoil anything, but he just talks about what he worked on at the sector of Area 51, and he worked on like a section of the UFOs. Of a UFO, sorry. Not the UFOs, but a UFO. And it's crazy. I love aliens. And I also want to say not one other thing, but there is a video that that recently came out this year. It was taken by I don't know if it came out or when it was filmed exactly, but it came out in March of this year, late March. And it seems like it's a video filmed by just some guy like filming through his telescope, and it's of the moon, and I don't even know what you would search on YouTube, but it shows three UFOs, in my opinion. Three UFOs kind of just skimming the surface, rounding the surface of the moon from light into the dark side of the moon. No reference to the Kid Cudi album. But it is super, super interesting. I have it on my computer. I would show it, but I don't know how. I mean, audio listeners can't see it. You guys would be able to see it, but it is.
Post it to the Discord, man.
I will post it to the Discord.
The Discord.
It's really good. It's really cool. It's interesting because it's not, in at least what I see, it's not animated in any way or fake. The video doesn't freak out like most of the videos do, and you can't try and say that it's three rocks or something floating by, because the moon doesn't have a gravitational pull like that, because these things are actually like rounding it, and there's shadow casting on them and onto the moon, and it's very interesting. Yeah.
I guess this is kind of my parting shot here. But don't close your mind off and just say these things can't be real. Because one, it's just boring to live life that way.
True.
But two, don't limit the scope of your imagination and the world that you could live in. The world can be way more exciting if you just allow yourself to think that the possibilities are endless. I mean, we are discovering, we know more about the moon than we do about our oceans.
No, we know more about space in general than we do our oceans.
Like species of animals on land and in the sea are being discovered new every day. And it's just, and that some of those things, like deep sea creatures, are alien as heck, man. So to think that there might not be something out there, and you just want to throw that out for just these people are cuckoo crazy. We're not crazy. The three of us aren't crazy. I mean, well, I'm crazy. But the three of us generally, yeah. I mean, we could have a conversation about that, but there's possibilities out there. You know, why just say that Bigfoot's not real?
Oh, yeah, that's a topic we got to get on someday.
Everybody said the chupacabra wasn't real, and now there's actual documented there's documented sightings and legitimized specimens of a small dog-sized creature that does sustain itself on blood, circa a vampire bat, and that's more than likely the chupacabra. So, like, who knows? Don't be so lame and just shut your brain off. Be cool. I mean, don't be normal. There's my parting shot.
Along with that, you're talking about like recent discoveries. I read today. So on Twitter, I follow like a lot of like NASA, SpaceX, space stuff because I find it super interesting. I like it. And today they posted, and it's not fake because NASA posted it, and they're very serious about it. They found water on the moon. It was like from the video they showed, it almost looked like it was raining on the moon. And it is a very, very almost like nothing, right? It's like they're saying like it's almost like stored like in the dirt or something. I don't know. It's really interesting. But they discovered that on the moon today. Or not today, but recently. And that's super interesting to me. And I think that like Brian said, you can't just push that aside and be like, nah. I mean, like, if you've ever looked up the Mariana Trench, which is, for people who don't know, the Mariana Trench is I believe the deepest part of our oceans here on Earth. It is a massive, massive trench that if you were to place Mount Everest in it, there would still be like 1.5 miles to the surface of the ocean. That's how deep it is. It is ridiculous. They have found life at the bottom of it, and it is just insane. But like Brian said, don't limit your imagination. Have fun. Even if it's not true, who cares? It's fun. It's fun to live this way. That's my 2 cents on that comment. Well done, Brian.
Thank you. Good job, Brian. Yeah, I guess my parting thing is I've never seen a whale in my life, in person, but that doesn't mean they don't exist.
That's true.
Like, I've only seen like coastline in South Carolina and Florida. I've never experienced all the other coastline. I haven't seen half of the things out there, but doesn't mean they exist. Barely made a little drop in the universe.
Yeah.
And it's fun. If you think the universe is infinite, that means technically Star Wars happened somewhere in the universe.
I mean, yeah. I was gonna say something, but I don't know. Like, it goes along with like a religion. I'm gonna say, I mean, you got to imagine if you believe in God. God has to have a pretty cool imagination, and he knew Star Wars was going to happen. So he was probably like, look, this guy, this like short little fat guy with an awesome beard and no neck was going to invent some nerdy Star Wars stuff, and I'm going to make that happen in real life.
Beard and no neck.
I just think that's funny. But yeah. Again, I think...
Good topic.
I love aliens. I think we could dive way deeper into the conspiracy theories of aliens. I think
maybe we will.
Yeah. For people who are listening, that got a little choppy.
One day.
But he said maybe we will. But yes, I would like to. I just think when it comes to like the deep conspiracy theories, it's more fun, right? That's just fun. I don't take all of them seriously. I think that some of them go way too far, but yeah, I also Brian brought up Bigfoot. I love Bigfoot. The Yeti is a fun one. If you have any fun conspiracy theories that kind of align with, I guess most conspiracy theories are, as long as it's not political. If it's like a nerdy sort of thing, like Bigfoot, Yeti, aliens, whatever, I'm down to talk about it. So if people out there have any suggestions, let us know. They're fun. I posted for people also. I posted that link to that UFO on the moon thing on our general chat here on our Discord, the Council of Nerds Discord, for people who just chimed in. But yeah, I don't know. Do you guys have anything else to say?
No, just open your minds, live life, have fun. That's it.
Yeah. Dan?
Hags, have a great summer.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. In the words of that Russian lady who was in Indiana Jones 4 in the Crystal Skull, I want to know everything. And the aliens gave her everything and her brain blew up and she died. So
careful,
children. Thanks again for listening to our podcast. This was a fun episode. I had fun with that. Nerdy news is fun. Aliens are fun. Next week, November, finally here. A lot of stuff to talk about this month for sure. But thank you again for listening. Again, we are on YouTube, Discord. We have our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, Podbean, all those things. Check us out. Give us a like. Subscribe to us. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Aliens exist.
Stay beautiful.
Later.
Have a good day. Good day.
The Council of Nerds.